I checked myself into rehab on Tuesday. I checked into rehab, and I just never really thought that by doing what's best for me and my family, it would bring with it a different type of suffering. I have never received a DUI, and I have never lost a job due to my drinking. I was drinking 3 to 4 pints of vodka every single day for the last 4 years. One day, in a confluence of events I am still trying to parse, I decided it was time. I got an assessment. They said that as I had never done treatment before, I was straddling a line between IOP and in person. I wanted to try IOP because I still have a drop. After this, I am not sure. I will take that bullet on Monday. But the guy who decides admission to the one in my network decided leaving at 2:30 p.m. is cool. I was just desperate, so I have to call back tomorrow. Fine, something has got to give. No booze that night. First thing in the morning I will call, and there is a meeting I know that evening if I can get a hold of him. I wake up at 145 with the fear. I toss-turn and move from couch to bed. Sweating, the whole withdrawal thing. Once the tremors start, my wife wakes up, and bing, bang, boom, I am on the phone with a place that handles people with my particular type of addiction. And when you know it, tremors and nearly a handle-a-day habit gets you a room pretty quickly. I was told that there would not be electronics allowed. I said, well, that is a problem, because I need mine. I am type 1 diabetic, and that is how I monitor my blood sugar. I get a fine. If you need it, you need it. So I back my meds and go there with that, and not much else, because I had also brought a Kindle, and reading seemed pretty benign. Nope. It has to go to jail, as do my Tums, because we have our own. They say they have books, and as you'd imagine, they are mostly books written for middle-aged men and women, and now I am left with nothing to do. I was assured that when I am detoxing, the last thing I will be thinking about is electronics. This makes a sort of sense, so fine. Due to the whole alcohol thing and some oral hygiene issues, I have some issues going on where I need to floss and use mouthwash to keep them at bay. They said they had no floss and no mouthwash. I know the first impulse is this drunk is going to chug it to get drunk, but alcohol-free is preferred anyway. And they also had no floss, so my mouth is infected. I can't even cough with pain running across the side of my face. The staff ask if I want Tylenol to go with the Librium. I try it. Keeps the tremors and neuropathy at bay, but no dice. Breakfast is continental, which is all ultra-carbs, bagels, sugary cereals, toast, etc., that you would find at the cheap motels my family would force me to sleep on the floor on when I was a good. Not only not good for a diabetic, but also my mouth. As they didn't seem to have much to say about my inability to cheep, I figured I would at least bring up the dietary thing to see what I could. It was the wonderful response of, yeah, we don't really have food for diabetics here. Lunch comes, and this is the hot meal for the day. I'm almost excited. Maybe it will be something that would be worth the pain, something to fill the depreciating dopamine in every part of my body. Well, if you are 75 and wear dentures, you are in for a treat, because lunch is catered lovingly from an elder facility 8 blocks down. And for dinner? Dinner is leftover lunch from the day before, and a paper bag lunch with a 2-piece meat, 1 piece of cheese sandwich with an apple and chips. I tried the sandwich and cried from the pain. I mentioned this pain and my inability to eat every nurse and care person I saw. Nothing. I was also bored. I am extroverted and anxious. I need to have an output. Without an output, I get itchy. The room, while larger than the one I lived in AITA, contained a bed so uncomfortable I felt someone had snuck into my room and specifically beaten parts of my body just so I could remember I had them. I drank nothing but boiling hot coffee and black tea, scorching my mouth in the hopes it would hurt the cysts more than they hurt me. I would hop in and out of the show between doses of Librium, feeling around for the cysts whose infecting had swollen so much of my jaw, and scrub until I got them to pop and bleed and ooze enough that by the next morning, they had become less inflamed. I went through 2 toothbrushes. End of the day, I could yawn, but I could have an unsweetened applesauce, so I continued the cleaning ritual. No Librium the last 24, obviously. In the last hour of my 3-day stay before I left, I could at least open my mouth without crying. My detox lasted about 28 hours. I had the usual symptoms. My stomach was all screwed up, anxious and restless. I had headache, tremors, random spasms, irritability, and high blood pressure. The activities they offered were puzzles and crafts. After 2 days, I was eventually able to start jotting down ideas, thoughts for stories, things to keep my mind from running amok. The only part of that experience I will remember is the amount of blood I spit down that drain. The rest was sitting in a room or pacing the common areas, filling my 8-ounce coffee cup, downing that and switching it out for coffee. Rinse, repeat. Had I not been afforded my phone, I sincerely believe I would have gone insane. By the time they left me out, I felt nothing. I was grateful to the people there in their way. They were nice enough as people. They made sure I detoxed with seizing or God knows what else. And I am well aware that I was there for recovery, not a spa day. But in the end, all I consumed was a single applesauce, a bite of sandwich, and collectively 3 gallons of coffee and black tea. My wife wanted to take me to Red Lobster to celebrate the great steps I had made towards recovery. I tried to tell her no, but after everything, I wasn't exactly pushy. We went anyway. I told her I wasn't hungry. They ordered appetizers, and we left. I tried to eat something before bed. Something that was a crux for late-night munching. I felt nothing eating it, only disdain that I had bothered. That was 28 hours ago. I slept for 11 hours, and my body feels normal. I was able to floss and use my mouthwash, so my mouth has been slowly but surely reabsorbing itself. But I still feel nothing. About anything. My daughter bought me gifts. All I wanted but would never say was I don't want them. My wife offered me intimacy. I said no, and I sat down here and just started writing. This can't be right. This can't be normal. This is my brain doing what I read about online. This is my dopamine receptors reevaluating the status quo. Part of me wants to drink, not because I desire it, not because I think it will make me feel, but just because I'm talking about or around it. The same way when I watch someone make a delicious burger on YouTube. This can't be everything. This has to be the beginning. This has to be the start of my rebirth. This has to be the story where I become the father and husband I am supposed to be. It has to be.